You know, I've been wanting to talk about this for quite a while now, but what is it with the past few years and this resounding sense of negativity in the gacha community? And I'm not talking about complaining about the state of a game or such. That's natural. You want a game to get better. We all want one of our favorite games to get better. That's normal. But what I don't understand is the persistence in complaining about the same thing for months or even years on end when it clearly shows that the company is not willing to listen. It's very, very rare that a company will listen to these complaints in the gacha space. The only people they will really listen to are, well, the hyper whales. The hyper whales that flood their bank accounts with a lot of money. Let me give you one such example. We all know Fate Grand Order is infamous for its terrible gacha rates and all that. They introduced a servant coin system a few years ago, and many people were not happy with it because it encouraged rolling for NP6, which is basically 6 copies, of which, of course, the 6th copy doesn't even increase the strength of your character nearly as much anymore because it just gives you one extra little bonus effect that doesn't really change that much because the max limit you can get for strengthening your ultimate attack in that game is 5 copies. So people were not happy about that change. In fact, people were very, very much not happy about that change. I was there for that. People were making quite a number of videos about the fear of what it encourages. But the thing is, it did not accomplish anything. The servant coin system did not change from then on, and it just kept going and going and going. Now, you would think that since so many people complained about it on day 1 or such, that, oh, maybe they change it. Nope. Like I said, it just kept going. I think I repeated myself. Sorry, I'm doing this without a script. Now, flash forward a few years to FGO's 9th anniversary, and they introduce an addition to the servant coin system, which now made it where you get 2 extra skills that weren't there before, but they didn't change how you acquire servant coins, so now you had to hit like NP8, which were absolutely useless copies in order to make your servants better. And not only that, but the 3rd append skill you could get before this change, it was a very, very bad skill. All it basically did was give you something like 30% extra damage or defense or such against certain enemies. It was very lore specific and it didn't serve that much gameplay purpose, but people did it. They rolled for NP6 just so they can say, hey, they completed a character. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. In order to level up your servant all the way past 100, you had to give up servant coins as well. So if you wanted to perfect a servant, as in getting all their append skills max, getting all of their levels to 120, then you would need NP6, okay? Like I said, people just dealt with it. They figured, oh, it's just a whale problem. Now again, flash forward to the 9th anniversary. They introduced 2 new major append skills that you can get. One is a crit damage up, which I believe is a 30% automatic crit damage buff. That is okay in of itself. I don't think anyone would have lost their shit as much. But the fifth append skill is where things get crazy. Now, before I talk about that, FGO, when it comes to like the Buster meta, relies on turn cooldown, because you have a skill that's like on a 6-turn cooldown, and if you have Double Vitch, which can reduce your servant's cooldown by 4, then you're able to use the skill again. Now, this new append skill let you reduce your own servant's skill cooldown by 1 3 times. For example of how big this was, this now enabled comps that were previously not possible. Let me give you an example. Arcuade is one of the most wanted servants in FGO, and one complaint about her was that she could never reach her full potential like someone like Melusine can, because she had a 7-turn cooldown when using her 100% NP charge skill. It basically made it where she almost could use Double Vitch and Oberon, which would allow for her maximum damage potential, but she wasn't able to. So it nerfs her damage quite a bit. Now, with the introduction of this, she was now able to do a 3-turn setup that was not possible before, which drastically changed the meta in the game for a lot of different things. Oh my gosh, there's so many things I could go into on how it changed things with the introduction of that skill cooldown. But I'm not. Just know it drastically changed things. Now, the reason that this was such a big dramatic deal was, like I mentioned, the third append skill before let you, it gave you like some kind of personal buff depending on the servant. It was basically irrelevant. If you had spent those servant coins, or you had spent those servant coins to get your servant to 120, and now there were these new append skills, you needed 2 more copies of 5-star servants in order to reach that. So you were basically punished for putting your resources into something, very limited resources that you at the time had no way of knowing about. It was the biggest PR disaster FGO JP had ever had, at least to my knowledge. If there's a worse one, go ahead and comment down below. Hyper Whales were saying this was a scam, and they were flat out telling FGO, tagging like their Twitter, tagging their customer support information or such, and they were getting such universal bad PR that not even releasing Summer Space Ereshkigal drowned it out. And Summer Space Ereshkigal was one of the single most wanted character. Well, Summer Ereshkigal was. It being space is just kind of a bonus. That was one of their most wanted characters for over 7 years for the community. And this was so bad that it drowned out even that. And let me just tell you, I did not believe they were going to do much to actually change it, because I have accepted for a long time now that complaining in the Gacha sphere really does nothing in the long term. But this was the first time ever I was proven wrong. First, they made a change that made it where oh, you can now switch append skills. So, okay, that was a band-aid. But people were still upset because, again, it meant that if you wanted to perfect a servant, you needed 8 copies. And after the 5th copy, it's kind of useless other than that slight thing. But that 5th append skill was just so good, everyone wanted it. So it encouraged hyper whaling to a ridiculous degree. So again, people kept complaining about it. And much to my shock, they added another change, which is from that point onwards, you would be given extra servant coins to make up for the new append skills being added. You didn't have to roll additional copies anymore. To show you how bad it was, NP8 was trending on Twitter for like 5 days or such. It did not stop. It was constant bad PR, and it was making the game look so bad to every single type of player. Now, with this servant coin change, things were back to how it was before. If you wanted to perfectly max out a servant, it was NP6. Which, you know, everyone still wishes there was a universal servant coin system, but is what it is. We were just flabbergasted that they actually changed it. And not only that, they offered up an additional like 100 to 120 Saint Courts in order to appease players. And not only that, but I'm trying to remember, they offered some other form of compensation. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think they offered some universal servant coins for those that rolled for additional copies just for like those append skills. Like I remember the day after the new 5th append skill was announced, I saw a video that said, "Oh, can I roll NP8 for that perfect servant copy?" It was ridiculous. Anyway, that was the first time ever I've seen in the gacha space that such a consistent, such a strong reaction to a bad decision the company has made actually made them change something. But the thing is, it only happened because it was such a vehemently, universally hated change that just made everyone feel punished for not seeing this coming. And again, FGO does not do this. They do not change things like that within like 5 days of like bad PR. This was legendary bad. So this, why did I spend all this time talking about this example? I wanted to list this first as an example of negativity in the gacha community that can actually work. If it's something basically everyone agrees on, then you actually do have a chance to change things. But the thing is, this consistent negativity happened for like I said, five days. Content creators were talking about it, regular players were talking about it, hyper whales were talking about it. It basically impacted every single type of FGO player. And again, this is a rarity that such a change happened in Fate Grand Order. And honestly, it gave a lot of people faith that, you know, maybe Fate Grand Order can head in a better place if people voice their concerns like this. I'm not gonna hold my breath, but it did restore a bit of my faith in the company. Now again, this is an example of being negative in a gacha game, accomplishing good change. Now let's talk about the entire reason I made this video and the toxic negativity that really doesn't change anything. Okay, let's get on to Hoyoverse now and their games. As we all know, Genshin is quite infamous for its lack of, like, you know, endgame content and such. And I even remember for a lot of people, this was their very first gacha game. And creators out there, I'm not gonna name names, but I know there were creators out there that tried to make, like, the pity system, like, better, saying it was trash day one, and you're not gonna get change in a gacha banner that quick. If anything, you might get a change like that sometime down the road for, like, anniversaries and such. So again, that's where I think that bitching about something that most gacha players are used to, I'm not gonna say it's not worth saying your piece, but alright, here is the thing I really want to get down to. There is no point repeating your point for months to years on end. You know the content creators I'm talking about when I say that people that complained about the lack of endgame content for something like Genshin Impact, they basically never stopped bitching. Never, ever stopped bitching from like once they completed the game, found all the chests and such. From then on, most of their content would be spent just saying, oh, the game has, like, no endgame content. And they would just repeat themselves over and over and over again. And I, for the life of me, don't understand why. I can understand a few videos talking about it, okay? I can understand a few videos talking about it and then moving on. But this would just go on for months to even years, and it's just like, don't you realize that your voice has basically no power in this scenario? How do you not realize that yet? Why do you continue to desire for something that you surely by now realize you're not going to get, at least not immediately? Like I will say, you're justified in making 1 or 2 videos after Genshin announced its whole, oh, we're not focusing on, like, endgame stuff because we don't want to give our players anxiety. And yeah, I will agree that's still a really dumb excuse, but this is where I want to chime in for a bit. I should not have been paying attention to these content creators because it made me do something that, looking back on it, I'm kind of ashamed of myself for. I was influenced by these content creators in thinking that, oh, this is actually a problem, because it's just like, hey, I can clear everything. I don't have reasons to go for, like, constellations of characters. Because I really liked these content creators' other types of content they made, it allowed their opinion to actually influence me when they would be overly negative about something. And I didn't realize this until years later. But I fell into that same pit of negativity myself. Suddenly, I was finding endgame to be a much bigger problem than it actually is. Because it's just like, well, why do I actually care? Because these guys are complaining about it? Yes, actually, again, if you respect a content creator enough, you'll actually start to share their opinions on a number of things. It's called a stronger influence from when it's coming from a voice that you respect. And that's why people have to be careful about what they say, because they hold influence over others and they don't even realize it. So getting back to my point, gosh, I'm gonna say that so many times. Again, this is unscripted. Also, give a like and comment down below on what you think of this. Do you want me to make more content like this? Again, losing my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, right, Genshin. I once made a huge post detailing the many problems of Genshin Impact, and my gosh, do I regret doing that, because while I still agree with my own points that, you know, the game could have been better with the things I said, I was just caring way too much about a nice little friendly gacha game. Yeah, I know, gacha games are predatory. That's still, even among, like, other gacha games, Hoyoverse games are not that predatory. Like, you don't need characters to finish, like, in-game content. Yeah, look at FGO when it comes to that. You think it's like, we don't have end-game content. The end-game content is the story quests. The story quests can get pretty damn hard. Anyway, oh my gosh, how many times am I going to say, what was I saying before? Anyway, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, Genshin. I heavily regret what I said back then, because it soured my opinion of the game, as well as many other games of the same genre. Because I was just looking for problems at that point, rather than just being genuinely bothered by something. And honestly, looking back on it, all it did is just make me enjoy the game less. And why did I focus on that kind of negativity? Because I allowed myself to be influenced by people I at one point respected as content creators. Now, those same people, I've realized I shouldn't agree with everything that content creators say. I should make sure to... Man, it's hard to word it. I should make sure to still keep my own values and such, like, in check, and not focus too much on the negative stuff. That's one of the reasons some of these content creators don't understand why so many other content creators in the same sphere, why they're so overly positive about things. It's because, well, what does it accomplish for them to be negative? No, seriously, genuine question. What does that accomplish in being overly negative? All it does is make their fans that also enjoy the same game as they do and share a sort of kinship from that. All it does is make them feel, separate and not as close to the content creator. I mean, there's a word for things like that going too far, but I think you all understand what I'm trying to get at here. When it comes to that, these content creators are positive not just because they genuinely enjoy the game, but I'm sure they have their moments where they say, oh, Genshin or this gacha game could be better, and it's just like, but why dedicate so much energy to that other than, like, maybe saying a passing phrase of it on stream or something? Because I'm sure even someone like, oh my gosh, how am I not remembering these Genshin content creators? It starts with a D. My mind instantly jumped to Toya, and I'm like, no, that's the Three Idiots. But anyway, he's known as an incredibly positive Genshin content creator, and I respect him because he's always looking for positives in things. And honestly, it's better to look for positives in things because, well, then you're just overall having a better time. So that's why so many of these content creators, they just continue to be positive, because not only are they awarded with a closer, happier community, but obviously, and yeah, there is this, they also are closer to the company they are basically employed by. And, okay, this is a bit of a side tangent. I don't believe for a second that Hoyoverse stops its content creators from truly speaking their minds. If they want to say that Genshin has like some sort of problem or such, I think they're allowed to say it, as long as they say it in a respectable way, like not saying like, oh, this game's fucking trash or such, or oh, this is a dog shit update. It's like, you gotta be professional about it, because you're employed by the company, and in a way you kind of represent them, so you need to have your point come across in a respectful and meaningful way. And that's something some of these content creators just don't understand for the life of them, because they're just like, oh, if you can't say the game is trash, they're censoring you. No, you can't say that. Let's put this for instance. If you're working for a company and you have an idea on how something can be better, are you gonna go up to your boss and say, oh, the way you're doing this is trash. This is dog shit. My way is better. You should try this idea. It would be better. No, you're not, because you would get fired. Now, if you come at them respectfully and go like, hey, have you considered this? I put a lot of thought into how this might benefit the company's outlook and such. If you say it in a professional way, people are more willing to listen to you. And that's because you're treating them with respect, even though you disagree with them. And that's something a lot of people don't get. If you want someone to agree with you, you've got to treat them with respect first. Oh my gosh. What am I even going to title this video? Because I'm just going into a huge tangent. Okay, I've addressed the whole like positive content creator things when it comes to like Hoyoverse and such. Now let's address something that I find really, really, really dumb. And okay, let's just get into it. The boycott for Hoyoverse is really, really dumb. Not the fact that it exists in the first place. It's because of how they're going about it. And the way that you boycott a company or such is basically two key things. You no longer support the product, and you tell others without being obnoxious, which, oh man, I could go into an entire rant about how some people don't know how to convince others without being obnoxious. But anyway, you also just tell others why you think that, you know, this boycott should happen. Now, that's not what the boycott, the Genshin boycott is doing. Their entire reason for doing it is, oh, contact like your local political figures, which, I'm sorry, that's just so dumb. With all the things on political figures' mind, Genshin is not one of them. And besides, how do people not understand at this point that when it comes to Hoyoverse, they mainly listen to the Chinese side of their community, which I think one of the reasons for that is because of how crazy the Chinese fan base can be. Like, have you heard stories of them, like, seeking out and trying to attack Hoyoverse employees? This is not just a, oh, they're so loud. It's no, they can actually impact your physical safety. I would not want to mess with that. Sorry, I was drinking some water. Again, I'm reading this all in one sitting. But yeah, I just don't understand what the boycott is trying to accomplish, because let's get into another thing that might get me some shit thrown at. Why are you complaining in the first place when they're using music from... Now see, I'm ignorant and I can't name the exact ethnicities or region or such, but I can say this. I can tell it's something different. When I listen to Natlon's music during the Genshin Impact 5.0 or 5th anniversary thing, you know, their live stream, I was blown away by the music. I was blown away by the people they got involved with it. And I was just like, damn, this is something different. This is clearly something from another culture. And Hoyoverse is paying these people to help with their game, to help promote the sort of feeling they want to go for in their region. And it's just like, why are you focusing on the color of, like, the playable character's skin or such? That's like super small compared to like exposing people to this type of culture within the game itself in a way that isn't like shoved into your face. Like, you're feeling it from the music, you're feeling it from the story. It's kind of the same way I fell for anime. I watched I watched an episode of Air TV, and something that I would never expect to see in American cartoons when I was younger. A situation in that happened where I'm just like, how is this allowed? But it just kept going and going, and my interest was piqued, and it led to me seeking out more anime. And that's what I don't think these boycotters truly understand. It's just like, sure, it would be nice if some of these characters' skin tones were a certain way, but you're completely missing that by Hoyoverse paying these people to do the music for Natlon, to have all these cultural references, it gets people interested and will make them research, if they're really interested, in where its significance comes from. And that's so much more impactful than just having a character's skin tone be a certain way. Like, what really accomplishes more in exposing a culture and such? Their music, their story, and their like cultural artifacts being represented in some way? Or just having the skin of a character match it? And it's just like, why don't you see that they're giving like the diversity and such? People are wanting. And it's just like, honestly, you could even say the same for like Sumeru and such, but that's a whole other tangent. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Okay, I'm trying to think what else was on my mind with this whole negativity in the gacha space. Oh yeah, how about a light joke? The only the strongest negativity we gacha players should have is our shared salt in bad roles. That's actually a joke in the FGO community. It's just like, no matter whether you're a whale or a free-to-play player, all of us are united by our salt in the gacha. Okay, what else? Again, this is what happens when I write this all. No, I didn't write. Oh my gosh, I am saying too much. I meant to say this is what happens when I don't write any of this stuff down and I just go by gut, but I like to think I'm making an interesting video to you people. Okay, what other things is there to talk about? Well, I hope I've gotten my point across on... You know what? There is something I missed. At least I think I did, but I'm gonna say it anyway just in case I didn't. When it comes to negativity or your complaints in a gacha game or such, just complain about it once. It's alright if you make a few videos, if it lasts a week or something, 2 weeks is maybe pushing it, but after that point, it should be clear. It's just like, you're not making a change and all you're doing is just alienating your own audience that wants to be positive about it and such. I'm starting to lose my train of thought. How many times have I said that? Like, imagine, commenters, say how many times I lost my train of thought, because I know I've lost my train of thought a lot. Anyway, just focus on why you're enjoying the gacha game to begin with. You're enjoying the characters, you're enjoying the music, you're especially enjoying the story. And it's just like, sure, if some egregious practice does come out, then yes, air out your concerns for a bit. But also, please have enough self-awareness to realize when it's not doing anything. That last part is specifically towards overly negative gacha creators, because it's just like, think about it. Like, how many years have certain gacha content creators complained about something in Hoyoverse games and nothing has changed? I know some people might mention, well, look at the changes in Genshin 5.0. We got the improved wish rates, we got the improved weapon banner system, we got a number of quality of life updates. My counter argument to that is the following. Wuthering Waves gave Hoyoverse some competition. That's mainly what it comes down to. And also, it might have reached the fact that even... See, here's the thing some gacha content creators don't get. They seem to think they have some strong influence in being able to possibly change the game if enough people speak up. You don't realize how small your audience really is in the grand scheme of things. The only thing that people will really pay attention to, well, by people, I mean Hoyoverse will really pay attention to, is the following. Their hyper whales, their, the Chinese community, and just the overall average player who... Okay, that's really the big thing. These gacha content creators want to make a big stink about the problems in a gacha game for a long time. I'm talking months to years. And it's just like, if the average player of that game is not saying any of this. If the average player is not saying or noticing any of this, then it's not going to be that huge a problem. It's just like, you may think you're this grand majority, but you're probably even less than like 3% of the grand total of players in like Genshin Impact or such. It's just like, again, gacha content creators don't have as much influence on the company as they may think. Sure, maybe their echo chamber fills them, but still. And I guess at this point, it might be a little late to say, now I'm not trying to attack these people, it's just, I just want you to have some self-awareness in realizing you're not changing anything. And it's just like, wouldn't it be better to just focus on you having like, you know, fun with the game? And it's like, sure, you can air out your grievances like on stream or such, but like making constant videos bitching about the game, it's just like, sure, I guess maybe it can help do the bag, but aren't there other things you can do as well? I don't know, man. It's just, sure, maybe the path to making a lot of money on YouTube is making a bunch of negative stuff, because, you know, people are always interested in what's more negative than positive, but is it really worth the transformation that happens to you personally, where you're just overall not as happy as you were before? Because it's just like, once you do that, you're gonna keep doing it again and again and again and again, and you're just not gonna have as much fun. And it's just, I don't understand it. I really don't, because these people are definitely smart enough to make good videos just reacting to story or such, and those videos will still probably do well. I just don't get the overwhelming negativity when it comes to some gacha content creators, because it's just like, again, you don't have as much influence as you would like to think. And I'm not saying, okay, I guess I should also address this as well, the toxic positivity, because I will admit, those gacha content creators, they do have a point. It definitely is an issue when it comes to airing out even the smallest of grievance you have with a game. If you're complaining, like, okay, let's say you just watched 4.0's anniversary live stream, and it doesn't satisfy you. You're allowed to make like 1 or 2 videos like saying your dissatisfaction with the game, because, you know, that's your opinion, and if you want a space to release it like once or twice, that's perfectly fine. Again, it becomes a problem once you start regurgitating the same thing over and over again. Now, the Hoyoverse community definitely does have a toxic positivity problem. I will not deny that, and I can't pretend to understand what it's like to have those types of people in your live stream. I'm sure I can just say something as simple as, oh, just block them from your chat, and it's as simple as that, but I'm sure it's not. Their volume is immense. The toxic positivity is definitely a problem as well, in just being like, oh, you can never say anything negative about like our gacha game. I don't believe in that. I believe that people should be able to give their criticisms, but not be so overly vocal about it for weeks to months to years on end, just saying the same thing over and over again. But, you know, for all I know, maybe the toxic positivity is a reaction to the overly negative side. I don't know. I'm not putting research into who started what when it comes to the toxic positivity versus the overly negative stuff. But I will say to content creators out there, if you're even listening to this long-ass video, just try to block them out. Try to focus on the things you actually enjoy about the game, or otherwise it's just going to influence your negative mindset even more. And yeah, I guess some content creators can literally make money off of just laughing at these toxic positivity people, but like I said before, is it really worth it? It makes you come off as incredibly petty, not professional, and it just makes people lose respect for you, which just creates this cycle of overly negative action and toxic positivity just rising even further. I don't know. I don't have the perfect answer, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. I'm just someone that wants the best for both content creators' mental space, as well as just, you know, the community itself having a good mental space. Have a balance between knowing when to give criticism to a game, as well as when to give it praise. Don't let yourself be influenced by overly negative people. It's not worth it. Like, I've seen a number of comments saying, oh, the best thing I did when it comes to this gacha game is not pay attention to the community. And honestly, at times, that really is the best answer, because I adore Honkai Star Rail. I adore Honkai Impact 3rd. I like Wuthering Waves. I like Fate Grand Order, but I don't really consider myself a part of like that community. No, I will take that back. I do at times feel a small part, like I am a part of the Fate Grand Order community, because, you know, it's not toxic positivity or anything. It's just like, we all basically just know what the game is, what's shitty about it, and we just kind of deal with it because, well, there's nothing we can do. And at the same time, you know, people may say, oh, you spent so much money on the game, you don't want to stop and feel like you wasted your time with the game. No, that's not the reason people continue to play FGO, even when they get screwed over by the gacha. It's not only that they don't want to feel like their time invested into it is wasted, they don't want to miss out on the wonderful stories to come with the game, because, oh man, that is something I absolutely love about Fate Grand Order, and it's why it still survives to this day, despite all its various problems, is the wonderful characters and story. Okay, I really feel like I've run out of things to talk about. I don't even know what I'm gonna title this video, because I wanted to make a video like this for a while now, and I hope I've entertained enough of you out there. And Noir specifically, I hope you're watching this and getting a good insight to how I really view things in like various gacha communities, especially like Hoyoverse and such. And hey, who knows? Maybe Hoyoverse is looking at this and maybe has a better light on me. I don't know if they saw that post I made years ago, but I do regret it. It really was petty and dumb. And it's just like, again, I'm losing where I'm going with this. Okay, I think it's best if I just end the video here, but this is something different I'm doing today. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what I'm saying here. Do you want me to talk about this kind of stuff more? Stuff that's going on in like the game industry or such? Because I always have a lot to say about the game industry, but I don't like to be overly negative, or at least I try not to be. But oh boy, if you wanted me to, I could make an entire video on Dustborn and how that game is so evil. But I'll only do that if people actually watch to the end of this video and actually want me to do something like that. At least I think the game's name is Dustborn, the one that encourages you to cancel people, bully people. Anyway, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, people. And tell me what your thoughts are on, gosh, so many various things I talked about in this video. Tell me if you want to see more. And, gosh, I lost my train of thought again. Oh yeah, consider becoming a member to my channel. Helps financially support me and makes videos like this possible. I actually was considering writing a script for this and having my editor have some big thing in the background, but then I realized, you know, with me, I tend to rant quite a bit. when I get passionate about something, I can rant for quite a while. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the recording. This is 52 fucking minutes. Oh, I hope it was at least entertaining for you. And I wish I said at the start, oh, grab something to eat because you're gonna need it. Anyway, I'm gonna end it off on there. I'm probably gonna have something like Genshin or Honkai Star Rail in the background or such. Thank you all so much for listening to this little, not little in the slightest, but this big rant I've been having about, you know, negativity in the gacha space. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Data received.